SeniorLivingGuide.com podcast discusses topics which are relevant to the everyday lives of seniors and their caregivers. We are joined by experts who share their knowledge on a variety of issues. SeniorLivingGuide.com podcast offers solutions and resources to create the best quality of life as we age. And now, let's welcome your host, Darleen Mahoney.
Does the idea of searching for senior housing solutions seem overwhelming and you aren't even sure where to begin? SeniorLivingGuide.com makes senior housing search, home care, home health, as well as many senior resources available to you right at your fingertips in one easy-to-navigate website, allowing you to decide what best fits your needs and budget, connecting you directly and exactly how you want to connect. SeniorLivingGuide.com podcast would like to express our gratitude to our podcast sponsors, Terabella Senior Living, where seniors unlock a richer, more rewarding lifestyle for assisted living and memory care in a warm, welcoming environment. And best-selling author Tom Marks, his new best-selling book titled Coming of Age in Retirement, an advertising executive's story of enlightenment and revelation, is now available on Amazon.com. And today we are joined on the SeniorLivingGuide.com podcast by Master Deputy Jeffrey Mary with Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office, where his career path led him to the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office, where he tackled assignments in patrol, district intelligence, and a Homeland Security investigation task force before assuming his current role as the Sun City Center Community Resource Deputy. His commitment to excellence is underscored by over 1,000 hours of specialized fraud investigative training. Deputy Mary has received several awards, including AARP's 2024 Fraud Fighter of the Year, IFCI President's Award, commendations from MOAA, MOWW, the Hillsborough County Board of Commissioners, the Florida House of Representatives, the Florida Senate, and the United States Congress. Thanks for joining us today, Deputy Mary.
Absolutely, Darlene. I appreciate it.
Yeah, and maybe our listeners can maybe guess what we're going to talk about today, which is fraud.
Fraud, definitely.
Yes, which is rampant, and it's ever-changing. I mean, that's a full-time job just to kind of stay on top of what's hot and what's new in the fraud industry.
Oh, absolutely. I attend 2 to 3 conferences a year just to make sure I know what's going on so that I can educate my community and educate seniors, not only in Hillsborough County, but throughout the state of Florida on these types of frauds.
Yeah, absolutely. And Sun City is an area that is highly populated in the state of Florida. For seniors, it's a great area if you want to come and retire. So you have a high constituency of seniors in that area.
Absolutely. And most people will know of the Villages, which is 125,000 seniors, a great place in Florida to retire. Sun City Center is just a smaller version. We've only got about 30,000 residents, but the average age is 73. There's 5 neighborhoods, 13 assisted living facilities, and 6,000 golf carts. Just for that little
6,000 golf carts. Yes. And I am sure they are a hot market for fraudsters.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, just reported to my office last year for that area was over $13 million worth of loss. And, that's why I'm here today with you, is to talk about that, because the numbers are staggering and it's only going up.
Yeah. And I'm so glad you are here to talk about it, because we really do need to educate our seniors and educate those that care for seniors on what's out there as well. And then also, if you do have a loved one that does get taken in, really kind of how to manage it, because it's really scary for them. It's hard for them. And if it does happen, it's not something they should be embarrassed by. So it is something you kind of have to navigate both ends of it, the prevention, then also afterwards, if it is something that they do fall into that trap. So,
if they are victimized, it's not just financial, but they're typically emotionally and mentally victimized as well.
Yeah, 100%. So statistically, do you have numbers for just the state of Florida or just in general, as far as like it's clearly growing? And I think that people just can kind of understand that. And a lot of that, I think, is probably just based on just technology is allowing some of the.
So the FBI estimated that in 2024, seniors alone, just seniors, so 65 and up in the United States, seniors lost $64 billion to scams or schemes. And they estimated it through reports and other databases. But the biggest problem that we have with the number is it's not reported. Typically, less than 1 in 5 seniors who are victimized and who lose financially don't report. They're embarrassed to report it. They don't want people to know. They don't want their loved ones to know because they internalize it and feel like, I can't believe I was that gullible. I can't believe I fell for that, which, that's not the case. But I mean, you think about that, $64 billion every year out of the senior's pocket goes to the bad guys. That's a lot of money. And Florida is number 1 per capita as far as scam victims and number 1 per capita per instance as far as the financial loss. So, if you take California out of the mix, basically Florida is number 1 in all the categories of senior fraud.
Yeah, that's disgusting. That's just terrible. So why do you think seniors are targeted?
So, and I give these presentations, but a lot. And what I tell people is, once you hit the age 65, you are typically 1 in 3 times likely to be victimized by a scam. And then once you hit 85, it's 60% of that population will lose financially to a scam. And the reason being is the seniors have the money. What I like to tell people is, look, I'm just a working class guy. I've got 2 daughters. One of my daughters was out of state tuition. So, I'm absolutely broke, right? I mean, I have no money. If a bad guy were to break into my checking account, he'd give me $5 to feeling sorry for me.
Right.
But however, at the age of 66, so January 2nd, when I'm 66, I'm going to retire. Well, the moment I retire, I'm going to have access to the 401k that I've put money into. I'm going to have access to the deferred compensation, to any IRAs, any Roth IRAs. My pension will then open up for me. I will have all these accounts with all this available money in it once I turn retirement age. That's what the bad guys want. Most people, we're paycheck to paycheck. What's the bad guy going to get from us? $100 here, $100 there. Whereas they want your entire IRA. We just had a victim last March of 2024, and in a month, they victimized this person for over $700,000. They cleaned out their 401k with Ameriprise in 1 month. I don't have that. They can't. They can try all they want, but that's blood from a turnip. So they come after our seniors because they've paid off most of their debt, so they have assets, so they can liquefy or they can take loans against. And then they also have, pensions and money markets and 401ks. That's what the bad guys want. I mean, they want the money, and that's the easiest place. It's not necessarily the easiest. I don't mean to say it like that, but that's where it is. That's who has it. And just a little tidbit: Sun City Center is only like 2 miles, has a 2-mile stretch of road, and there's 18 banks and investment houses in that little 2-mile stretch. Well, there's no other conglomeration of wealth in Hillsborough County like that. And Hillsborough County's got over 3 million people. But, the banks know that the seniors have the money, and that's where it is. And so the bad guys then, that's who they target, is those seniors.
Yeah, that my blood boils listening to that, because these people have worked their whole lives to save this money. They've invested in it. They've wisely used it. They've probably penny pinched. They've done without so that they can retire, and they can retire, securely, knowing that there's a possibility they need to go into an assisted living. Possibly they may need extended care if there's anyone that gets sick with cancer, any type of long-term illnesses or Alzheimer's or dementia or any of those types of things, so that they're secure. And they pinch pennies. They eat, great value brands. They do all these different things. And then they also probably want to put some money aside for their grandchildren or their children as well. So they're properly investing. And then somebody comes in and they have the audacity to think that just because they want it, they can have it and they can just take it because they just want it.
And they do.
It's disgusting.
Yeah, and they absolutely do. I've been the community resource deputy for almost 11 years now. It'll be 11 years in April, and we've had victims of $1.6 million, $1.25 million. I had one victim that was victimized for $2.3 million, and the bad guys will take every single last dime, and to the point to where people have to move back in with family. They have to sell it. They can't live. They can't live their golden years like they want to. They had a plan, and now because of these bad actors, they can't follow out that plan. They can't live out that plan anymore.
Yeah, I believe in a special version of karma for those folks. So you just have to wait on that karma. And sometimes that karma is the law, and I'm down with that too. So
absolutely.
So we'll take that. So a little bit about the criminal organizations. What's the money spent for the con? I mean, exactly what is that?
Okay. So it's no longer is it like some guy in his mother's basement that's perpetrating these frauds. Now these frauds are actual organized crime, and it is mobsters throughout the world, typically in non-extradition countries like Ghana and Jamaica and Nigeria, especially. And we hear a lot out of Nigeria and the Ukraine and places like that. But it's terrorist criminal organizations, and they use this, in furtherance of their organization. We're talking $64 billion in a single year. And what I've learned over the past couple of years is, like, there's a group, and they're in kind of the demilitarized zone between Taiwan and China, and it's basically a little city, and they will actually have therapists come and train their call takers to emotionally manipulate victims, teach them how to really get that emotional manipulation, how to really set that hook, if you will, into the victim to get them. Because normally most of us are not going to send money, right? And the way the bad guys do it, the way they get you, is to make you emotional. Because rationally, we all know that, we all understand that you don't send your money, to the government. You don't send your money on, romance scams, grandparent scams. We all know it, and even victims know that, and that's why they internalize it so much. So the bad guys, they have to get you emotional so they can manipulate you, and they'll hire therapists to teach their people. And then there's another group that's run out of Africa, and they actually hire models. Like once a month, they fly in a bunch of male and female models to do videos and do FaceTimes on the and they predominantly do romance scams. So, they hire the models for a couple, days, and then use their face in videos and overlays and, AI generated things later, this is actually the person that, loves you and wants to visit you and wants to be together, when no, they just hired that person for a few hours to make a few videos, make a couple of voiceovers and things like that. But again, it's criminal organizations, and they spend money to make money. They spend it in software, they spend it in training, they spend it on, like I said, models and therapists to try to, emotionally break someone down so that they will send them money.
Yeah. Well, so what are some prevalent scams that are going on right now? I know that I have been contacted about not coming to some kind of special jury duty, and it comes from a sheriff that's not actually our sheriff, and a phone number that's not our zip, and that's not our area code. So I'm like, scam. But and it's happened multiple times, but I don't fall for it. But that could be easily, and it's just click on a number. I mean, you're supposed to click on it, and that could be somebody that would have a panic and just poof, click on it. So I don't even know what the click would do, but that's something I've recently seen just for myself.
Yes, and that's So each of these scams, you're going to see an emotional component, and that's how they get you. And with the jury duty scam, and we've actually seen this a lot in Hillsborough County, where the bad guys will research sheriff's offices and see who like is the major or who's the commander of the civil unit. And so then they'll spoof their phones and they'll show that we've seen it where they show that they're calling from the sheriff's office, even though they're not. And they'll say, hey, this is Captain Morris or, Major Brown or Sergeant Smith. And if you go look them up on our website, that's actually a real, sergeant or major or captain. And then over the phone, it says, Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office or wherever you might be. But, then they say, hey, you missed jury duty. I've got a warrant for contempt of court for you missing jury duty signed by the judge who you missed jury duty for. Well, we don't want to go to court. We don't want to go to jail. I don't want to be picked up and taken to jail, especially over something like that. Was there anything else I can do? What else can how can we take care of this? Oh, well, all you got to do is you can go into the system, and this is what they tell them. Just go into the system, put in there that you missed your jury duty. It'll set you another jury duty date, but you're going to have to do a cash bond to make sure that you show up for your second date. And that's the hook. And that's how like if they send it to you via text, what it does is it kicks you right to that portal that is schedule your next date and submit your cash bond, proving that you'll be at your next date. And so it sounds legitimate, seems legitimate, and they make it as legitimate and as fearful as possible. They will definitely put the screws into you about, look, we're going to come and we're going to come to your home and we're going to pick you up and we're going to take you to our jail. And, you're going to go through booking and eat jail food, and not a good experience. So that's
very scary.
That fear component. And that's under that government impersonation that we see a lot of government impersonation scams. Right now, there's a lot of text messages going out about Peach Pass and Sun Pass and different toll payments where they're going to, suspend your toll payment and even suspend your license because you owe a toll. We have also seen them where you didn't pay a ticket and they're going to suspend your license and issue a bench warrant for failure to appear because you didn't pay some ticket. And, again, those are fear mongering, so that they're trying to make you emotional and just elicit money out of you, get money out of you.
And the reality is those types of issues would most likely come in the form of mail, official mail, and
Correct.
then an email that you've signed up for where it connects to your actual account. So, I mean, to get a text, I am always very leery of text messages. And I think that that's, just a good standard of practice. Anytime you see a text message that you don't know who it's from, I don't click on anything on a text message.
Definitely. Don't click on anything in a text message or even in an email if you don't know exactly who.
100%. Yeah. Oh, yeah. 100%. Or attachments that are in an email. Don't open an attachment in an email.
No, definitely not. Unless you know that sender is sending you a photo or a PDF. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, absolutely, stay away from those. And I think we've got, we'll get back to the scams, but just so that people can recognize what I like to give a little example, because I'm going to harp on this emotional aspect, because the moment you feel somebody, invoking an emotion in you like fear or urgency, and then asking money, if you're educated about it, you can usually recognize it. And in each and every one of these, it's an emotional component of manipulation. I always like to tell people it's kind of like when you go to a car lot and buy a new car, that, they don't want to talk to you about price or payment or down payment at first. They want to put you in that brand new vehicle, right? That nice new big vehicle that smells good and has all the buttons and all the bells and whistles. And, meanwhile, you're looking at your piece of junk that you drove in and you're like, this is really nice. Well, why do they do that? Well, it's to emotionally attach you to that vehicle. Because if if the salesman knows that you're emotionally attached to that vehicle, you'll pay a little more. You'll pay a little more a month. You'll pay a little more down payment. You'll pay a couple extra months because you really like that car. It's got that new car smell, and your phone works in it and all the good stuff. And that's the kind of manipulation that all these scams prey on, is some sort of a piece of your emotion to try to get you to be fearful, like we talked about, we're going to take you to jail. Or the next one is the romance scam, where, you're my person and we're going to take cruises together, and, they align. And what's really bad with the romance scam is it's so deeply emotional. We see them where they'll take 6 to 8 to 12 months just to create the illusion of an actual relationship, and then ask for money. So, they've pulled on the heartstrings, and they've talked a good game, and they've even gone on social media and crafted themselves to be your perfect person, or somebody that aligns with your values and has grandkids, or, likes to take cruises, or, likes to go to Greece, or, things like that. They'll align all that stuff so that you're really emotionally invested before they ask for that first dollar. And those are especially nefarious, because someone lost not only, a friend and a possible, spouse or partner, but then financially as well. And we see a lot of those.
Hello, everyone. I'm Tom Marks, best-selling author of the #1 retirement book in America called Coming of Age in Retirement, an advertising executive's story of enlightenment and revelation. It's also the best-selling book on aging, the #1 mental health book, and the #1 memoir in America. I'll be a regular guest on this podcast, and I'll be providing Senior Living with lots of blog posts and articles. Thanks for reading my new book and listening to this podcast.
Look for Tom Marks' books on Amazon.com.
At Terra Bella Senior Living, seniors unlock a richer, more rewarding lifestyle for assisted living and memory care, offering daily activities, home-style dining, and 24-hour care in a warm, welcoming environment. Tour today to see the comfort and care we offer at Terra Bella.
Yeah, what's really, for me, the romance scams are so heartbreaking, because a lot of times they're widowed, or divorced, or they're empty nesters and they're very lonely.
Yes.
And they take what little bit of money they have, even if it is a lot of money, it's all that they have left. But it's not only preying on them emotionally, it's preying on their self-esteem. It's preying on them, all the different things that affect you as a human being.
Yes.
And as a woman, or even as a man, because men definitely are affected by the romance scams as well, I'm sure.
We're about half
but I do
half.
think, is it about half? Okay.
It is.
But I feel like it absolutely it has a lifelong effect on you. And I would bet, and I could be wrong, you probably have the statistics on this, but the romance scam is probably one that people absolutely keep that mum afterwards more than probably any other scam. They don't share.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's one of the hardest ones to convince victims.
Yeah.
I've had several of them, and I've got a few of them ongoing right now, where I have, sat in the victim's den, and I had one victim, and they sent their property tax money. I mean, they were down to nothing, and even sent their property tax money, and because they didn't believe that it was a scam, that this person loves me, they're coming to get me, they're going to be here. And another one, I was in an assisted living for over an hour and a half talking to a victim, and I was like, look, this is not happening. They've continually had an issue meeting you, and that's because it's all about the money. And the moment you stop sending money, guess what? All the attention that you get is going to go away. But, they've preyed on every bit of their, sometimes loneliness. They've preyed on, they've crafted the perfect person for them. And we all want to live happily ever after.
Absolutely.
And it's that one's rough. We've got some therapists on staff and or licensed clinicians, and I usually have to send them after I visit, just to kind of help them through the process. And then I know a few actual therapists that deal with only victims of scams. They're not local, but I'll usually send the links and there's those websites to the loved ones, because what they've got to go through, because they're going to grieve the loss of their money and the loss of this person.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
After a year, y'all are dating. After a year, this is a firm person in your life.
Yeah. And any self-esteem you have left.
Yes.
Yeah. So the term pig butchering, what is that? That's a scam. What is that? Is that a new scam or?
So it's about 3 to 4 years old that we've seen. And it's come about with cryptocurrency. And so the lead in to the scam can be one of many different things. What we typically see is one of your friends contacts you on Facebook and talks to you, but it's really not your friend. It's somebody who has cloned their account or hijacked or stolen their social media account. And just through innocuous, everyday conversation, they say, hey, I've started investing into crypto. Oh, okay. And you'll ignore it. And then a couple of days later, hey, man, did you see the other day, the crypto market, I made $8,000 just in the last week and a half. Okay, great, whatever. Well, after a few, just little hints, if you will, then they're like, okay, well, how did you get into it? Oh, I got a broker and I just started with like $200, but the United States economy is so inconsistent right now. I started putting a little more over there and I'm getting some really great returns and gains. Oh, okay. So then eventually they link them to a broker. Well, then the broker sends them a website. They sign up on the website. They wire money in, and it shows that they have a $200 cryptocurrency account, and they go buy, how many ever of whatever cryptocurrencies, because there's a lot of cryptocurrencies. So then the account shows that, okay, a week later, that $200 is now like $800. So the broker then sends a message, hey, you've done really well. Do we want to put a little more in here? Yeah, absolutely. Of course. This has done better than my, 401k or what money market, whatever I've got out there. Put a little more. Oh, look at this. It's going up and up and up. It's kind of like the old pump and dump where they get them. And this was our victim back in March, the $700,000 in a month, but they can log in and look and see that the account's doing great. And it, the what they've bought in matches up. Even if they look online, okay, that's the correct cost for Bitcoin. But then when there's no more money, that website evaporates. It's gone. So
they just keep investing because they think it's growing and growing. And reality is it's all fake.
Yep. And once the broker, once the scammers, once the bad guys, the bad actors realize that they're not going to get any more money, they shut down the website and it was all just made up. It was all just internet.
Because it's not actually a broker. It's a fraudster.
No, it's all 100%. It's a fraudster. It's all a scheme. And, we've found out that several, if you do like a Google search for a crypto broker, we've found out that several of those results that come back are illegitimate. They're scammers. Yeah. They just want you to sign up, start pushing money in, and then eventually it disappears with all of your hard-earned money.
Crazy. So I know that the old tried and true fraud that's out there is the tech support scam.
Yes.
Is that something, I feel like a lot of people have kind of caught on to that one. Is that one less successful, do you think?
No. And the reason being is in the last few months, the bad guys have figured out how to hijack our devices.
Oh, yeah.
So we've had instances where your phone comes up with a screen that says your phone's been compromised. Your iPad's been, used to be just your laptop and your desktop. Well, now that they've figured out our devices, we're seeing an increase in it since they've figured out how to, because this is our lifeblood. A thing comes over your phone. Well, we didn't know. We didn't realize the bad guys could do it, but now they can. So it's definitely, coming back around. But again, it's not your laptop. It's not your desktop. It's your, it's your phone. We've seen it phone and we've seen it on a watch. We've seen it on a tablet. I mean, they're getting very sophisticated in their ability to be able to take over those devices and then basically hold them ransom against you.
So is there a way, so we now know what it is. Is there a way if someone sees that where they can stop it, or are they just toast?
No. Typically what you can do if your device is hijacked or it does tell you, hey, you got a virus, call a number, click on a link, power it down, let it stay off for a good 15 to 30 seconds, and then power it back up. Because typically the boot scans will remove any connection, will remove any devices, will remove most of the bad and nefarious things on it.
Okay, good to know. Are there any devices, especially with like the mobile devices, the mobile phones and things like that, that are more or less? I mean, are Apple's more susceptible versus Sam's Androids?
So we've seen more in the Android phones than we have the iPhones, but the iPhones aren't completely immune.
I knew you were going to say that. It's because I have an Android. I will be honest, I was asking for my own personal reference.
If you get the big blue screen on there that says, you've been hacked, or, your phone's got a virus or anything like that, just turn it off and turn it back on.
Yeah. So very big rule of thumb, don't click on things.
Yes.
Don't click on your website, on your emails, your text messages, website, anything. Don't click. Yeah. No. Very good rule of thumb. So I do want to cover, and I know that we've done a previous podcast, but the grandparent scam, I'm actually quite familiar with that, especially with the AI, and it is the voiceover or the AI voice that sounds.
We've actually seen it now. We've seen it now. We've had a couple instances here where they've actually used video, and they've done a FaceTime call or a voice or a video conference call, because our jail actually does video calls. Well, now, and I talked to a guy who went to a hackers conference back in October, and he said that they now only need 70 seconds of video of somebody, and that generative AI programs, he said they're learning faster than anything that we knew, and said that they only need about 70 seconds of video of someone, put it into an AI program, and then it can make a video call. And like the ones that we've seen is it pops up and says, Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office booking, accept phone or Orient Road Jail, accept the video call. And you do. And then it's your loved one crying, and you see booking in the background, and they're saying, hey, I need $7,000 for bond. Get me out of here. Get me out of here. And that's so, yes, we've had the grandparent scam. It's been around for ages, and we almost got rid of it. We were pretty much done. Most people had, but now if you get that over your phone, that's a whole different world. And, what we've told people is, family passwords, we've basically had to come to that, because otherwise, even the hacker said that in probably 8 months, you will not be able to tell the difference between your loved one and one of those AI generated, video calls.
They're going to have to figure out a way to start putting some kind of restrictions on some of the AI, especially with the video that's impersonating. I mean, they're just gonna have to figure something out, because it's.
Well, I mean, we all know somebody that sent us a video and said, "Oh my gosh," and then you're like, "No, that one's kind of fake." But in a year, we're not going to be no one's going to be able to tell.
Yeah, I've watched some videos, and it does take me a minute. I'm like going, "No, that's not real." Yes, when it's somebody talking that you're familiar with, and you're like.
It's their accent and words they use. That's all they need is that 70 seconds.
Oh yeah.
So
for sure.
That one's nefarious.
It's crazy. It's absolutely the safe word, the password, the family password. That is the way to go to protect yourself from those scams, because I don't think people really realize until it happens that they can do that. And I just knew the voice. The voice is dead on. Absolutely dead on, that your son, your daughter, your grandchild can call you, and you're having a phone conversation, and you think you're on the phone with that loved one. And the reality is, it is not them.
No.
And it messes with your brain because it's the bait and switch just doesn't seem normal. It's very difficult to comprehend that that's actually really happening. And for especially older seniors, especially any senior that has any kind of cognitive issues, any kind of cognitive decline, that's really got to be very, very difficult for them to wrap their brains around. For sure. But now you're adding video to it. Come on.
That's AI is going to ramp up a lot of these scams and help them not only get much more selective targets, still seniors, but, different, all right, which seniors have more money, they'll absolutely go after, and then be able to pull those emotional strings a lot harder.
For sure. Oh my gracious. So some resources. I know that you work for AARP. We partner with AARP quite a bit. And we know that they have some incredible resources, and fraud is one of them.
Yes, absolutely. AARP has the Watchdog Network, and that actually is a lot of different things that go into that. You can go on there and you can do research. It'll tell you what the latest scams are. It'll tell you how to protect yourself. They even have a victim phone line where other victims are manning them. So if you're a victim, you can call and talk to somebody who is also a victim to kind of help you emotionally, through the aftermath of that. And that's one of the absolute best things, because we've talked ad nauseum about, the emotional scarring and trauma that these scams leave. So we love AARP for that. But there's also a few more. IC3, the Internet Crime Complaint Center. That's a place where you can get some research. You can do some good statistical research and find out what's going on. And then also the Federal Trade Commission. They're kind of like a clearinghouse of information on scams and schemes and kind of what to do and how to protect yourself.
Okay. And we're going to include these links in the description of the podcast. So I'll have these links. So if you just heard that, you'll be able to just look in the description. You'll be able to click on those in order to take you a little bit further so that you can do some research. I did want to ask you one question. I know that, I'm all about solutions. I mean, we can hear about all the different types of fraud that's going on, the scams, et cetera. But the romance one, it seems to be a hard one to avoid if you're doing any kind of online dating. Would your recommendation, if you are old, I don't want people to not online date or to find romance if they've been widowed or if they're single. I want them to be able to do something to make that connection and not be super, super afraid. Do you think that they should include other people in their life that they care about, their children or their grandchildren, when they start doing that process? So there's like that second, that there's that balance and that check. I mean, if they're not an in-person person that they're meeting, that's like at the local coffee shop.
So what I recommend is the red flag is asking for money. Go online, be a part of social media, be a part of, putting yourself out there, finding somebody else or finding friends. Because some of these aren't romance. Some of these are friendship. They just drum up a friendship and then hit you for money. The moment someone asks for money, if you haven't met them in the flesh, get away from them. And that should be the moment that you realize that you need to close off all communication, block them, and move on. And I know that's going to be hard because, like I said, they will invest, 6 months, 8 months, a year. I think the longest one I've seen is about 11 months before they asked for $1. And that's very difficult to do when you're emotionally involved in that whatever type of relationship. But that's the cue. The moment money is asked for. And if you want to know more about that one, Netflix has got a really good 3-part series on it where they had 3 women from Europe who were victimized. And then one of them lost $1.5 million being victimized by the romance scam. And they go through it really well and talk about the FaceTime videos and the love bombing and, the type of things that they would, asking to commingle funds, just kind of the different tricks that the bad guys use to suck that money out of you, to elicit that money.
I did watch that. And one of the things that I did want to notate as well is that if there is misspellings in like English or, that doesn't maybe makes sense. That sounds like maybe it's broken English and you're talking to someone that shouldn't be the case. That might be a red flag, because I think that can be an issue if you're talking with someone specifically in Nigeria. I think that was kind of the
yes. But that's gonna AI is gonna clean a lot of that up. So
are they fixing that?
Yep. So just try to be rational, and if you see a red flag, you don't ignore it. But don't ignore it. Anybody.
Yeah. Yeah. For anything. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Exactly.
And then
oh my gosh.
I know we're running low on time, but so the biggest piece of advice that I give everybody, and it's the easiest thing, is to verify. To verify. If law enforcement calls you and says you've got a warrant, you say, okay, great, I'll take care of it. Hang up on them, and you call your local law enforcement. If Publishers Clearinghouse says that you won, $2.2 million, you can go to Publishers Clearinghouse website to see if you've won. Now, my joke is I check it every morning before I come to work, see if I've got to come to work. But, verify. If your granddaughter calls you from the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office jail or whatever jail, call her, text her, reach out to her, verify. If your bank sends you a text message saying that, your debit card was compromised, you call the number on the back of your card. Don't take what's given to you. You reach out and verify in some way. If a friend on social media says, "Hey, I'm invested into crypto," or "I've got this," we saw COVID grants, or easily obtained PPP loans during that time. And it was usually a friend's social media that was hijacked. Reach out and ask them. Just take. We're the microwave generation. We want things instantaneously, but just take that 60 seconds just to verify, and it'll keep you out of all of it. Every single bit of it. It will absolutely keep you out of.
So quick question. You'd mentioned if someone calls you and said that they've been arrested, they're in jail. Can't you go to the website? Don't they? I know in the state of Florida, we have the Sunshine Law. Everything is like an open book here, but I don't know if it's like that everywhere. And I know that our podcast listeners, I got our report on 2025. We are all over the nation. So it's pretty incredible that our listening span is so large. But don't you, once someone is booked into jail, isn't that public record everywhere where you can pull up the website and there it is?
No, it's not public record everywhere. Previously, I was a deputy in Georgia and we didn't have that. So it just depends on the sunshine laws within your state as to whether you can do that. So, like I said, just try to reach out, text them while you're on the phone. Hey, are you alive? Hey, are you? Now, that'll be the one time they probably don't answer, but at least, reach out and try that verification process. And like I said, that goes with pretty much any of these scams. If you find a crypto broker, you can go look them up. They have to still be licensed. So, verify. Ronald Reagan said it best.
Yeah, absolutely. This was a great conversation. I learned so much. I hope our listeners took some good notes. And as we kind of mentioned in the very beginning before we sign off, if you do fall, to one of these scams, do not be embarrassed. Definitely report it, because reporting is how we're going to be able to stop it.
Yes. Look, you have been victimized. All right. You weren't gullible. You didn't fall for it. Look, they know what they're doing to get you to send them money. So understand that you're the victim, and the only way that we can help you, your family can help you, or anybody can help you, is to come forward and say, I was victimized. Now let's work on this together.
Yeah, absolutely. Please report it. And your loved ones will understand. I promise that they will. Well, I can't promise anything, but I hope that they will understand, because it can really honestly happen to really anyone.
Yes.
Anyone.
And it does.
So, yeah. And it does. It does. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. We really learned so much, and I'm going to include the links that you recommended for people that are looking for resources to learn more about fraud, or if they need to report it, or whatever they want to learn more about the latest scams like pig butchering that are out there, that type of thing, on the description. And again, thank you for joining us. If you enjoyed this podcast, please check us out. We're available anywhere you consume or listen to podcasts or music. Again, thank you for listening.